Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we have Milk White and the Green Corvette. So, for those of you just tuning in, creepypasta are scary stories that get copied and pasted across the internet, whether it be on threads or forums. Go check it out on Google. So we'll dive into Milk White, which was by Easy Misery. And it starts off with the narrator explaining an urban legend in his small Wisconsin town of a boy born and raised in the local insane asylum who would sneak out at night, and because he was albino and sunlight would burn him, and would look for people still awake to bring home as friends. Now, of course, he killed them with one bite of his huge teeth before doing so, and it was usually child victims. So the asylum closes down, but the stories remain and permeate the childhoods of many kids in this town. So, and there's even like a creepy little rhyme to it, like, hush now, sleep tight, or else beware of Milk White. He doesn't fuss, he doesn't fight, he'll kill you dead with just one bite. And Milk White is the name of the killer. So, cut to the narrator is now 12, and he has an older but slower friend named Peter, who's been held back a couple of grades. And this new friend from New York, who just moved into town and absolutely hates the small town, and his name is Jimmy. Jimmy is totally bored one day and decides that, and doesn't believe in any of these stories, thinking they're just made up and you're a bunch of babies for believing in it.
So, you mean his older friend whose name is Hans?
Is it Hans?
Yeah, I don't know where you got Peter from.
Where the fuck did Peter come from?
Peter is the brother of Hans, the one that went missing.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Wow. Alright, well, we're done.
Oh, redo it.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused as how Hans and Peter ended up as names of brothers. I mean, it's just, like,
Maybe
they're just, well, they're not in the same category.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah. Unless Peter is short for something else, like Pitosperskin or something.
I love how you just added gibberish to Peter, but it was the exact same gibberish that I was adding to Peter in my head.
Yeah, same. Petrovsky. That's all I got. Wow. Okay, sorry. Hans is the larger but slower friend.
My name is Hans.
Yeah, exactly. And so Jimmy's not believing any of this bullshit, so he just wants, and he's bored, so he wants to go up to the asylum and check it out. And he drags in the other two. After a trek in the snow at night, where they do see like human feet tracks, like barefoot tracks.
Huge.
Like adult-sized. And they get in through a boarded-up, broken window where Peter impales his hand on a nail.
Hans?
Sorry, yeah, Hans. It's because my rundown has Peter in it. Damn it.
I didn't know you wrote down your rundown.
Most of the time I will write down like jot notes.
Okay, so from now on, every time you say Peter, I'm going to say Hans, but just keep going.
Okay. After a few hours, not much is actually like spooky or anything like that, and everybody starts to get calming down. And that's when Hans finds the door to the basement where Milk White supposedly lives, but it won't open. And Jimmy tries it, and then he tries to get Hans to do it, but Hans is all scared. And then that's when they hear someone coming up the stairs. So they kill their flashlights as the door opens, and Milk White, or what they presume to be Milk White, pops up, just like right next to them, and doing his creepy like rhyme in a whisper and such. And then with a slip of his thumb, the narrator flicks on the flashlight, revealing Milk White, who is not white but blood-stained. And so he's red. And that's when Peter bashes the narrator and Jimmy over the head.
Sorry, I failed. Peter Hans.
Which he comes when he comes to, Hans and Milk White are gone, and it's nearly morning. And he manages to drag Jimmy out of the asylum and to the nearest place.
Building.
Yeah, building. And the authorities show up, and after an investigation, it is decided that Hans must have done something to the kids that blocked it. Yeah, sexually. That blocked it. That's why they came up with this weird story, and like that's why Jimmy can't remember anything. And ran off. So Hans's family has now lost 2 children, Peter and Hans, or 1 children because of me, Peter and Hans. Peter Hans. But anyway. So after it's a couple of years have passed, our narrator is now in college and he refuses to come home despite his parents' beggings, and because he knows the truth that Hans did not do anything to them, and that in fact Hans saved them from Milk White that night, because Milk White only goes after you if you are asleep, or if you aren't asleep.
If you're awake.
Yeah, if you're awake. And that's the end of the story. So I have a feeling I know what you guys thought about this story, but I know the story didn't have a lot of wasn't a perfectly written or anything like that, and it could definitely be improved. But for some reason, it has a lot of charm to me, as a boogeyman story. The whole I was actually just really, I don't know, I really enjoyed the ending I guess it's a twist because when Hans sacrificed himself to save the other kids from the big bad monster.
He sacrificed himself after he knocked out Jimmy and whoever the fuck their narrator is.
Yeah, we never get a name.
He could have been bashing himself in the head the whole time while Milk White's taking him away.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry.
That's actually kind of what I was thinking
I'd
too.
have been doing the same fucking thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, I liked the description of the monster, the boogeyman character, Milk White. The whole backstory of the urban legend was really cool to me. I will say that as soon as Hans and Jimmy were brought in, I was thinking in the back of my head, it was all right, which one of these people or both are going to die by the end of this? And I was actually kind of pleasantly surprised. Well, okay, I was kind of sad that Hans's fate was kind of sealed there, and that Jimmy didn't bite it, because fucking Jimmy, he's portrayed as such a dick in this story that he's the character that you just want to die in a horror movie.
Well, yeah, it's the old bait and switch. They make you hate him, they make you want him dead, and then they don't kill him.
Yeah. But yeah, aside from that, I think the story does have a bit of potential. If it was looked at again and revised, it could be maybe made a little bit longer or just fleshed out a little bit more. I think this could be a really good story. So, what do you guys think?
I think the concept of Milk White is absolutely silly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the origin story.
No, I refuse to. But since, you're going to make me whether or not, it's the fact that a child born in the same asylum. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying it never happened. I am kind of saying that they wouldn't just leave the kid to run around.
No. That kid would have gone to probably another hospital and probably sent him into foster care or something.
Or the local orphanarium.
Yeah.
Whatever. They would have done something with the kid.
No, I will give you that.
Yeah.
So, just right there, this kid can exist, but not living in an asylum like he did. So it's just, immediately I can't fucking buy it.
Mm-hmm.
It really should just stay as, a little ghost story to tell kids to get them to go to bed, because they won't fucking think of that. They'll be like, oh man, that would fucking suck.
Yeah.
And then they'll go to bed. But, if you wanted to make it more believable, have him, he is born in an asylum, he gets, sent to the orphanarium, he never gets adopted because, he's an albino and whatever.
There's some stuff wrong with him.
He's not well adjusted, yeah. But you know, then he turns 18 and he's out of the orphanarium and he goes back and, you know, tries to find his mom, but the place is all shut down, so he just takes up residence in there and, like, continues his spiral into, like, you know, cannibalism, basically.
Yeah, that's
and then becomes the monster we now know as Milk White.
Mm-hmm.
That is still a preposterous turn of events, but at least it's plausible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, the original one for this, I just kind of like thought, I was like, okay, it's just like, that's just a ghost story. Like, it sounded like as believable as any ghost story I've ever heard, or
But
like
here's
urban
the
legend.
problem. It turns out
And
in
then
the
there's
world
truth
of
to
this
it.
story, it turns out it's true.
Yeah.
Which, it's just,
Yeah, like
it's not bloody well gonna
no,
be.
I understand. Yeah, like I do like your expansion on it, like where like through a series of events like that were more logical. That's how this. And who knows? Maybe that's what the truth behind this is. But we never get that in the story.
It's not in the story. It's
I
not
understand.
the truth.
Yes,
The truth is that a baby fell out of a mental patient and they just let it crawl around. They didn't even feed it.
Yeah.
It just ate scraps of food
from that like across
that
by
the
going
patient
to hell, yeah.
dropped or what have you.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
It's as ridiculous as a lot of other ghost stories or like urban legends. Kind of, that's how I saw it. But I can see like for a story like this, like it needs to be
lazy because I came up with a way to have it be the exact same story, but the backstory for your monster is a little more complicated. It would have taken a few more words to write. And a little bit more thought to come up with.
Yeah.
But, you know, didn't even try. Or, you know, tried and figured it wasn't worth it. Or whatever the hell the thought process was there. I mean, like, yeah.
Okay, so it needs to be worked on.
Well, the monster is unbelievable, therefore I can't, like,
Yeah.
I'm immediately just like,
Thrown right out of the story.
yeah, because that's all it can be at that point, is a story.
Yeah.
And for a creepypasta, that's like a bad fail because a lot of the creepypastas are trying to pass themselves off as, yeah, this actually happened.
Yeah.
And this one didn't even try that. You know what I mean? Like, it just, or if it did try that, it failed so fucking hard that it might as well have not tried. And at that point, it's just a story. I have no investment. I don't care about Peter. I don't care about Hans. Because Peter is a character in the story. It happened to him. I don't know what it was, and I don't care.
Yeah, okay, I will say that, like, the whole, like, because the Peter thing, like, it's kind of just mentioned.
Oh, no. I just don't
no
care
reason.
because I'm not invested in the story at all.
Fair.
And, like, yeah, Jimmy's a twat, but I don't even care if he lives or dies.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, because you already know that they're all fictional anyway.
exactly. Like, I'm willing, like I've said so many times on this, I'm willing to suspend my disbelief, but I need help to get there.
Okay.
I can't just cut my disbelief out of my, physical being and just put it in a cupboard somewhere. I have to get help to suspend my disbelief.
Alright.
Yeah.
Mikey?
Well, I have that written down as one of my issues with this, was the born in an asylum. Especially since it was specifically a mental asylum. It wasn't a criminal asylum. So, in that regard, it has more people there to help because they're patients at that point, not
just
inmates.
criminally insane, yeah.
Which the author blatantly says inmate at one point. So he obviously doesn't know the difference between those two types of asylums.
Yeah.
And he's going for the born in a prison aspect, which born in a prison could make sense if you went back into older days
but
and
we're
stuff
not,
like that. But
because,
we're not.
I mean,
yeah.
This, like, the events that happen now are happening, now. It's 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Let's go back, 30 years?
Yeah.
It's 1986. Shit like that just doesn't happen in 1986.
Or if it does,
Like,
it's not a common
We're
thing.
too far along.
Yeah.
There are too many regulations. There are too many people looking for some horrible story to put on the news.
Yeah. And the fact that, like, a baby was just like, oh, it's born, it's keep raised, like, that would be pretty newsworthy for the time.
Exactly. Like, someone would have blown the whistle on that, because someone would have taken a look at that situation and said, well, now, that's not right. Something needs to be done here. Anonymous tips need to be phoned in.
Yeah.
And then the next thing that I have here, which really ruined, well, at this point the monster begins to just be ruined. Because there's a quote, "He was an albino, and any form of light would horribly burn his skin." Any form of light. That's not how albinos work.
No.
But if that sensitive light, oh, I'm gonna go out at night. Ah, moonlight. Ah, it burns.
Yeah, it's like
Street lights.
Street light.
Yeah.
Flashlight at the end. It would have been, oh,
I was actually
him
expecting
running
that to
away
happen,
and
yeah. I will say
something.
that, yeah.
Like,
Expecting him to burn, it's like, ah. And maybe that was how they got past him. But
And I'm also a little confused on why his teeth are huge.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
he just has huge teeth.
Yeah.
yeah.
I wrote that down too. It's like large teeth, so he's got big buck teeth out front.
Like, yeah.
Good for biting necks. I don't.
I mean, maybe that's why he was still in the asylum.
I also went back to the fairy tale with Little Red Riding Hood. Oh, what big teeth you have!
Yeah.
And it based on that it's a human. Your teeth don't get that big on a human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big teeth for a human being are not much bigger than normal teeth
Yeah.
in a human being. So, it doesn't help you kill someone with a single bite. Like,
No. If they
I
were,
would
like,
have a
razor-sharp
hard
teeth or something.
I would
but-
have a hard time killing someone with a single bite.
Yeah.
Like, quickly killing them.
Like, yeah, like, even if you bit them in the jugular, like, that's
Well,
gonna
and
take
try
a lot
and
of
do
strength.
that.
And,
Try
yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
Especially on someone who's awake and struggling. I
Yeah.
mean, like, this shit isn't, like, lions
Yeah.
don't kill shit in one bite.
Yeah.
They fucking try, and they have evolved to, and, you know, they do it most of the time, but, like, there are times when it fucking doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, and we don't have those teeth at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, like, I hear what you guys are saying, and I do actually, like, understand it, but I can't get past that part where, like, I just kind of, like, read the urban legend and, like, this adventure, this horrifying adventure, as kind of just a work of fiction, but, like, I enjoyed it for that. So,
Yeah, but, I mean, it's a work of fiction with absolutely, like, just everything about the monster has a hole in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
That would be, like, fuck, I can't even think of a parallel. I'm not saying that they're not out there, I'm just saying I can't think of one right now. I don't like my monster having holes in it. Like, I was actually willing to believe, like, I was willing to buy the fact that, you know, the light on his skin was an overstatement. Not any light. But yes,
Like some,
light,
like his-
horrible, light did cause him discomfort. So he didn't. And like, okay, so you said it horribly burns. Well, that's just, you know, that's an exaggeration. I'm willing to allow that.
Yeah.
It, like,
And then nothing happened with the flashlight.
yeah. I mean, he did nothing
and, like-
with it. All he did was have him albino and sensitive to light so that he went out at night. Well, you could have done that by having him be a normal person. Well, and I guess to have the name Milk White, which isn't a great name.
no.
No.
Like, I instantly
So
thought, like,
you
this
could
would
have
be
had him
powder.
going out at night because that was the only time he could sneak away from, you know... Fuck, it's just the only time to really go out and fucking be sneaky.
Yeah. In the cover of darkness.
You know, like...
That's why so many things, like, why more crimes happen during the night than during the day. I assume. Which we all know what assuming is, or does.
But, yeah, it's just... I don't know. They didn't try and make the monster make sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. It's not
Yeah.
that I don't believe it, it's that it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Like, you establish a fact about the monster, and then throw it out the window when the monster actually shows up.
yeah. Well, and again, that ending, again, it just struck me as I'm just trying to get it over with. Like, so many times we find in a creepypasta, they get to the end, and instead of doing it right and, you know, going through all of the paces of the ending, they just fucking vomit it out and, you know, say, I'm done. It's done, post.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that is my thing about it. Is
That's a big, big fucking
Yeah.
problem. And I mean, like, even if everything about this was perfect, that rushed ending would have just... It still would have fucking put the kibosh on it for me. But then, like, because that's the end of that night, but then he goes on for, like, another bit afterwards, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this doing here? Because that was completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, it just... I don't know. Like, it's 4 paragraphs. And a couple of paragraphs that are a single sentence.
That explain the aftermath, but run down the aftermath. Of what
Yeah,
happened.
it goes to the point where he's in fucking college. Like, it didn't have to. I mean, especially, like, definitely didn't need the stuff with the psychologist or, you know, like, you know, it could have gone to, like, an epilogue paragraph where, like, oh, I'm in college, I haven't been home since this happened, everyone still thinks Hans did it, blah, 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 or maybe it was Peter.
Well, that was the other thing. Yeah, no, I know. That's the other thing, actually, like, halfway through this, I was like, oh man, Hans is totally going to be Hans is going to be the one that's going to actually be in line with Milk White, who's actually Peter. Like, that's what I was actually expecting to happen, was that, oh, it turned out that Peter...
Well, and that's fine, because that actually makes the mention of Peter useful, because for you it was a red herring.
Yeah, and for me, I remember, like, when I first read, like, about Peter's, oh, Peter died, it's like, the family, like, was crushed, and then they have Hans, and it's like, okay, the only reason I can see it being there is for us to sympathize more with Hans and his family.
Yeah.
For the ending. Which, I mean, granted, I actually feel, again, like, the story kind of worked on me for that, because I did feel really I actually felt bad for Hans, because he's kind of a sympathetic character in all this.
Well, yeah, he's a simpleton.
Yeah.
Simpletons are always sympathetic.
Yeah. And then, like, same with Jimmy. Like, Jimmy is just stereotypically, like, a fucking arrogant little prick.
Let's talk about Hans for a moment.
All right. Let's, Mikey.
They talk about him being held back. Not 1, not 2, but 5 years.
Is he in the same grade as the narrator, or is he just in the same school?
Same grade.
I thought it was just they were in middle school together. Not necessarily in the same
but
grade.
Middle school
is like 3 grades.
Yeah.
I don't know which grades exactly, but our narrator is in grade 7. Isn't it 7, 8, 9 or something like that?
No, it's
For middle
9,
school?
10,
No.
11, 12 are high school.
I'm talking about 7, 8, 9 for middle school.
Oh, okay. So, I think it's 6, 7, and 8.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
Now, that being
8 would
said...
be grade 8 then, because or close to grade 7, roughly. So at least he's in one grade above, which would mean he'd been held back 4 years.
Yeah, either way,
Still.
he's held back for 3, at least 3, at most 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At which point, you know,
Does the school board just
well,
do something
Well,
about that?
he would have been given help of
Yeah,
some kind.
exactly, yeah.
he probably, well, yeah, I just don't know. I mean, at that point, I mean,
I mean, based off of, like my, like, experience in, like, school and stuff like that in the 90s, like, I do recall that, like, there was a special class for people that were developmentally challenged.
Yeah.
So he'd be going to those classes rather than... And there was, like, a program, like, we had for, like rather than just pulling them...
Exactly.
And they were actually, like, halfway
And they
through
would
that year, like, they were
essentially
pushing
do
people
life
back, so-
skills.
Yeah.
And they would be there for the specific amount of time that you would be in school, and then they'd be gone.
Yeah. But okay, yeah, you said that a little too, like they're not be gone.
it sounded a lot worse.
Yeah,
than I'm sure you intended.
exactly.
But yeah, like that's just that one did kind of like fucking Christ, he's 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But by the time I got to that, I was like, this thing is already so full of holes.
Yeah, and then...
I can't even use it to strain my macaronis.
Yeah. And then when we get to the asylum, Hans gets a nail embedded in his palm.
Yeah.
To the point where it has to be pulled out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all we get is Jimmy saying, "Scared of a little blood, you fucking baby?"
Yeah,
and it's like, that needs medical attention.
Yeah, as soon as I heard that, it's like, well, I know she needs a tetanus shot soon. Who's going to need a tetanus shot?
Yeah, but it's okay. It doesn't need medical attention because he's dead.
he's a red shirt anyway.
But yeah,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I feel like this could have been a good, like, running around the asylum trying to evade Milk White. And, like, you know, eventually it coming down to Hans having to bash the narrator over the head.
Yeah.
Jimmy could have died at some other
I would have
point,
been
like
happy.
he could have died in like the cafeteria or something, and then it's just Hans and the narrator,
Yeah.
you know, hiding, and then like, you know, fucking Milk White's like sniffing out the blood or something, and that's why Hans, you know,
got blood.
fucking
Yeah.
knocks him out, and it's like, okay, so he's asleep, so he's safe, and he's gonna find the blood on me anyway, and I'm dead, and oh!
Yeah, exactly. See,
And
like
the narrator wakes up, and there's like no sign of anything.
Yeah, like it's like I said, this has some potential, and it's not it's not a good pasta, but there was a charm in it for me when I was reading it.
Well, of course it has
So-
a charm. It's got an urban legend in it. You're
Yeah.
a sucker.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and actually it's funny because I did read down in the comments, and actually somebody comments like, "I think there was some Christian denotion here because this piercing of the palm, like, and then him sacrificing himself for the other two." I was like, "Oh my god,
Hans was the reincarnation of Jesus.
Hans was this pasta's Jesus."
Maybe that actually was the intent, but man, if it was, that was
Convoluted?
just horrible.
Yeah,
Because, like, yeah, no.
yeah, like
Although he did die for Jimmy's sins.
Yeah. Oh god. Damn it.
That doesn't make any of this okay.
No, I know. Also, to point about the big teeth, I'm not going to lie. The first thing I kind of came to was that he was just like deformed, like larger than life kind of teeth.
But he's not deformed.
I know it's not mentioned, but that's where my brain went to like add into the story. So
Like, his only deformity is that he's albino.
Yeah.
And maybe the reason I like the story is because I was just filling in the gaps as I read it. And
Well, you are a much better storyteller than this guy.
Yeah.
Or girl.
Yeah, we're not sure.
Or fucking
Person.
whatever.
Individual.
Or group of individuals.
God damn. Now we gotta be that. Now we gotta be that friggin' PC.
I'm just taking it to its inevitable end.
Yeah. Well, how do you know it's an individual? It could be a group. God, don't be groupist. I really hope that's not a word. Or like not a term.
It is now. You just
Anyway. Was there anything else, Mikey or Dr. Leviathan?
Well, I have notes on how I would have made it better.
By all means.
Alright.
Because, again, while I liked the story, I would love to hear
Alright.
a good version of it.
The first step is remove the born in the asylum, which we've already
covered. Yeah.
talked on, and make it lives in Old Abandoned Asylum.
Yeah. Like, it would be a little bit more feasible as an urban
Or
legend.
Old Abandoned Asylums. And then explain that Milk White only goes after courageous, foolish preteens.
Okay, that's a little stretching.
Fun stuff.
So make him Voorhees or Michael Myers.
And then have the camping trip where Peter went missing near an old asylum.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Okay? And then, I know it's probably a trope of some kind, but make Hans a genius, but he's acting a fool.
So not even
To explain the 5-year gap, And
Oh, so he's gifted more than okay.
yeah, and what's to say that he didn't have an encounter with Peter on the camping trip, and he's been trying to find Milkwhite ever since to get his revenge, but he knows that they only goes after preteens, so he has to stay with them until...
Okay, so like it's like a long con kind of thing, like...
He has to wait.
So wait, wow, okay.
So he has to wait for the protagonist and Jimmy to actually go to an asylum, which ends up summoning...
So wait,
Milkwhite.
now Milkwhite's actually a supernatural entity? He has to be summoned?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because otherwise
I mean-
he's not going to be there. It'll just be an empty asylum.
You've completely made a brand new story using, like, the
Some
using
of the
some
pieces.
parts. Yeah.
A couple of the characters,
Yeah.
asylums.
And you've created this
Actually
complex
using
plot.
the Peter
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, actually, yeah, because, again, without that your convoluted story, Peter's whole, like, thing in the story is really just a red herring. Or just a sympathy, like, adding on...
nothing.
Yeah, or just nothing, yeah. Yeah, so, like, I honestly do feel that the story, as it is, just needs to be fixed or needs to be reworked. I'm not saying it's a good story, because it isn't. But there's something there, like there's potential in the story at hand, rather than just making a brand new one. Though I would like to see your new one.
Yeah,
but
I have more. But I don't know if you want more.
No, go for it. Like, if you want to, like by all means, go.
That's what it needs. More.
If you have more to that plot, or if you have a different plot.
Well,
Then they go into space, see?
Well, instead of the cops finding nothing, they end up finding the body of Peter.
Okay.
In which case it insinuates that there's a fight between Hans and Milkwhite.
In space.
No.
I'm sorry. As soon as you said there's a fight that ensued between Hans and Gruber. Oh God.
And
Yeah.
essentially how I would have that fight go down is that Hans wins, but not after being bitten. And then while he's standing over Milkwhite in defeat, it transforms into his brother. And then he realizes, oh crap, and then as he turns into Milkwhite.
So wait,
that's the supernatural side of it.
So it almost has like a Pumpkinheady kind of plot thing?
Well,
where like
essentially
it just transfers over?
Transfers over, but it consumes the soul of these young people, and that's how it keeps moving from one to the next, because it needs to recharge.
Okay. It is like you've changed the origin story of this thing from being just a creepy mental patient or serial killer.
At what point is this character, is Milkwhite ever a mental patient?
Okay, not a mental patient, but like a serial killer.
Exactly.
Into this supernatural entity, which again I don't mind, but it's just not this story. You completely changed the story.
Okay, made it better. Worse or better?
Yeah. But yeah,
Are you sure it's not Stan E? And the last horse crosses the line.
yeah. God damn it. Well, guys, do we have anything else to say about Milkwhite?
I also don't like the rhyme.
No?
Yeah, it didn't rhyme that well.
Well, it
rhymes.
Yeah. But, I mean, tight, white, fight, bite, it rhymes. It's just... Yeah, I don't like the messages it delivers.
I was a little weird, I was a little confused by, like, he doesn't fuss, he doesn't fight. And I was like...
Clearly he does.
Yes, he does.
Kind of his shtick.
Yeah.
You know, that's what makes him a menace.
Maybe he doesn't fuss, but he does fight. But, yeah.
Yeah, it's just... It's like, or don't fuss, don't fight. you know, he'll kill you dead with just one bite. Like,
Yeah.
maybe that. But,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, it's not good.
No.
It needs to be
fixed.
different.
Yeah. Like, I do actually enjoy...
I'm all for its existence,
Yeah.
but it needs to be different.
The rhyme or the...
The rhyme.
Yeah. Because, I mean, rhymes and creepy stories are usually kind of interesting. Like, they're like... They look into, like, the culture of the... Or, like, the...
Well, and I mean,
The back of...
two,
Freddy's coming for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the poem that inspired the Pumpkinhead franchise. There's actually a poem that of Pumpkinhead. I cannot
That's
recall it.
fine. It's not in the movie, so I don't care.
Yeah, but it inspired the story. It inspired that. Oh no, it is in the movie. The Bumpkin kid, like the redneck kids, are saying it around one of the lesser children.
Crazy.
Yeah, clearly. But anyway, yeah, like I said, I would recommend this one because I personally did enjoy the read of it. But it does need to be on the other side, it does need to be reworked. I would like to see the story looked at again and like fixed. But that is my recommendation.
Yeah, I would only recommend reading it if you're going to rewrite it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I would say stay away. Because if you're going to read it for entertainment, I just don't get the entertainment out of it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. 2 different views. And the
Actually,
third one-
3 different views.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and the third view is just
I just
No.
did not like it.
all right.
All right. You know what this means?
We have a tiebreaker.
It's bad.
Whatever. I still enjoyed it.
That's why Mikey is here.
Yes, but you're wrong.
Maybe I should have just let the recorder die.
Maybe I should just let you die.
All right, and we're moving on to our side dish because I thought it was going to be we were going to need that. The Green Corvette by Tesla Toth. So it's the stock worker and father comes home to find his daughter is not home, and she should be, but he waits till the next day, and when she's not there that next morning, he calls the cops.
He's also 18. That's why he
Yeah.
doesn't lose
he doesn't lose his shit.
immediately.
Yeah, exactly. He also asks around and scours the neighborhood, but no luck except for the 5-year-old kid next door who saw the daughter, whose name is Chelsea, get into a green Corvette. After about a week with no other leads, the cops finally do find her, but she's dead in a ditch, essentially. She's dead in a ravine by the railroad.
She's clearly murdered.
Oh, yeah. She's, wrapped in plastic. I think her,
That's
bruised
all we
and
need to
beaten,
go
all that
to.
stuff.
That's all we need.
Yeah, she was clearly murdered. After looking up green Corvettes owned in the city, he finally comes up with a guy named Gerard, who had a record, and that's why he recognized the name, I guess, because he came to the door and introduced himself as per his court requirements. And so, but he has an alibi for that night, so the cops aren't really pursuing it. Regardless, the father, in a rage, goes over one night, convinced that this is the guy that killed his daughter, and presumably kills him. When he gets home, the kid is outside playing and notices that the father has something on his shoes, and he's like, you got green on you. And he's like, what? And he looks down, and on his shoes, there is red blood on his shoes, not green. So the kid is colorblind, and it wasn't a green Corvette, it was a red Corvette. Dun, dun, dun. He killed the wrong guy.
Or maybe it was a green Corvette, and he killed the right guy.
No, that's not how the story proceeded.
That's not how it... But, I mean, come on, he's a good fucking possibility, and...
I mean, yeah, it was... Yeah,
any
it was
sicko can get someone to lie for him.
true. But yeah, it is assumed that he killed the wrong guy. Or suggested that he killed the wrong guy and that the other guy is out there somewhere.
Driving a red Corvette.
I enjoyed the twist, but otherwise it's a twist that I've seen done a couple of times, so it's not terribly original. Though the shortness of this pasta does kind of just lean itself for alright, well, I read it, that was an interesting twist, go on with my day.
Yeah, here's my problem with that.
Okay.
Kid's 5.
Yeah.
Nobody's realized he keeps fucking up red.
Well,
it's not realized that he's colorblind.
yeah, the mom
So
was a
when he
stripper.
says green truck or green Corvette, no one's like, hey, This guy thinks a lot of things are green.
Yeah.
Like,
I get what you're saying, because it's like this kid just just suddenly spontaneously existed to see that,
and
witness
he
that moment.
spontaneously developed fucking colorblindness.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, or color dyslexia. I don't know.
Yeah, like the father knows enough about this kid to know that his mom is a stripper, and that's about it. Like
Single mom.
Yeah, single mom, and he knows a fair amount about this family, and he's obviously a neighbor, knows people in the neighborhood and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's a plot hole.
Yeah,
that nobody else realized that this kid is colorblind. Also, if he told that to the cops would have kind of asked the kid more about that, and probably would have found out about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of investigating the guy who had a green Corvette.
Well, I mean, they would probably do both.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, okay, so this kid sees red as green. So, it's a green or a red Corvette. Also, he's fucking 5, and he can spot a Corvette?
Damn.
Don't get me wrong, I love vets. They're great. They're fantastic. I can spot one, a mile away. Because I love them. Also, because I'm 32.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, we don't... we're not given a lot of information about this kid, so we don't...
We know he's 5.
We know he's 5.
He smashes Tonka trucks in driveways, and he fucking apparently can spot a Corvette, but he cannot tell you exactly what color it is, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we don't know, why this kid...
We know more about this kid than anyone else in this story.
Yeah.
However, there is no explanation for him being able to spot a Corvette.
Yeah.
Real plot twist, the kid did it all along.
See, I'd actually buy into that. But that would actually make it an interesting story. God damn it, Mikey.
The kid is actually the green Corvette. And during the day, while other people are at work, he transforms into a green Corvette and runs down innocent girls.
Or lures them into them so they can take them out to the place. Yeah, anyways, yeah. So, why is this Corvette on and there's nobody there? I'm going to go away. Anyway, there's not a whole lot else to say about this one, for me anyway. Especially now that I've just found that plot hole that is it's the cops would have grilled this kid, or would have at least talked to this kid and found out, oh, he's colorblind, it's not a green Corvette. That would end the entire pasta right there.
Yeah,
but I mean, again, it's one of those ones where it's a short pasta. So the person writing this was writing just a short thing and didn't think enough, I guess, to try and figure out that plot hole.
Brevity is no excuse for not thinking. Just because you're trying to keep your story brief doesn't mean you can't. You fucking read over this once and you're gonna catch those plot holes. And then you rewrite it and fix them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or this is why, and this seems to be our motto, this is why you have somebody else look at your pasta before you just post it on the internet. Yeah. So that you can fish out all those, so you can fish out at least the majority of those plot holes and issues and fix them before you post.
Yeah. I would have a lot more fun doing the prep for this podcast if people did that more, because a higher percentage of the pastas would be good.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, well constructed.
Yeah.
They might still be shit. At least they'd be well constructed shit.
Or a concept that
I could at least look at it and say, you know what? That is a fine piece of shit. It's still shit, but man, is it good shit.
Wow. Again, another t-shirt quote. Mikey, any other thoughts other than what we've just presented?
No. It's a relatively short one. It was a story. It was relatively good when it comes down to it. I recommend people read it just because...
Okay.
It's short.
Yeah.
I found it entertaining.
Yeah. If you don't think of it too hard, which is not what you're supposed to do, unfortunately, with these short pastas, it is just a fun... It has an interesting twist, which I would recommend for that. If you're really trying to think of it like we do on the show, maybe don't.
honestly, if they've already listened to this, they know what's wrong with the twist.
Yeah.
So they can
already
go
know the
ahead and
twist.
read it. Exactly. So, I mean, it's doubly ruined. Well, it's one part ruined, one part saved, because, hey, they already know what's wrong with it. So.
Yeah.
But I would actually recommend it because of one thing.
Okay.
One really tiny thing. The fact that, and the way the writer goes about glossing over what was probably a heinous and brutal kill scene of the mistaken identity.
Yes. Like, don't go
'Cause-
into gore porn.
Yeah, completely didn't. I mean, the guy, like, the father of the missing girl isn't even in the house when he cuts away.
Yeah.
And then he's home when he cuts back.
Yeah.
And
It's a nice little, like, transition thing. Like, we all
and
know what he did.
imposters.
Yeah.
And that's part of the beauty of it, because my mind can come up with some fucked up shit that I would do to someone in that situation.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the beauty of it, is that, like, even if you're not a father, you can come up with, like, you know what you would do in that
Oh, yeah.
situation.
If you knew
and it
that
would
was
be
the guy.
fucking, like, you might not even know what you'd do, but man, you know it would take hours.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah.
just, yeah.
Especially, like, we've had a couple of pastas recently that have
For-
done the wrong
for
thing.
pasta to have that kind of restraint
Yeah.
is, let's
So,
face
kudos
it,
to you.
unique.
Yeah. So kudos to you, Tesla Tom, for going the what's the word?
Taking the high road.
That's what I was looking for. Yes, taking the high road
In
on-
your green Corvette.
Yeah. So wow. So Milk White, one out of 3 people recommend. Green Corvette, all 3 apparently recommend.
He gets the green light.
Wait, I'm colorblind.
Okay, it gets the light at the bottom.
All right. So, I guess that was our episode this week. So if you like what you heard, if you didn't, if you have some comments to throw our way, leave them in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Tumblr, Facebook, YouTube, Kiwi6, or you can send us a review on iTunes. Every little bit helps. You can also send us an email at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com, where you can also send us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. And if you'd like, you can donate. If you just go to crazonstudios.tumblr.com, you can check out all the title cards for each episode, and on the side there's a little donate button. So until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm still Dr. Leviathan.
And I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And this has been Al Dente Rigor Mortis. Sleep well. What was that? Just... Hello? No! Oh! Not my syrup. Ugh.
You can take my syrup, but you'll never take my beer!
I'm sorry.